Hiya, my name's Charlie and welcome to my channel. And today, I've got the lovely Charles Heathcote on my channel, Charlie from Charles Heathcote. So, links in the description. And today we are filming the 2022 releases that we haven't read yet, but we want to. Is that right?
That's exactly correct.
Yeah, I might fiddle with the title, but yeah, whatever. Okay, so we're going to start with a book, me saying a book, and then we'll go on to you, and then we'll see if we've got any in common. We've in theory we have got 10 each, but there may be some overlap.
You're getting really good at explaining this. I couldn't have said it better myself.
But how many do you reckon we've got in common? This is what we were like.
I feel like there's definitely going to be two that I can think of.
Two is what I
think of. Two or three that we might match with.
I reckon two. My reckoning.
But what's your
okay,
one?
My first one, I've got get my right. My first one is, I know this one you won't have had because it's like romance. Honey and Spice by Bolu Babalola. And that's, have you got it?
I haven't got it. I saw it on Waterstones last night and I was going to send you a message to say, had you heard that it was coming out? Because I thought, yeah, Charlie.
Yeah. Honey and Spice is about Kiki, who works in a radio station on a uni campus, and Malachi, who's like a ladies' man, and it's sort of like a fake dating trope, I think. And then, yeah. So I'm excited for it because I loved her previous work, but previous short story collection, which was Love in Colour. I just thought it was just brilliant. It's one of my favourite books. It's on my shelf. Where is it? Yeah. So excited.
Is that one out yet, or is it due to be released?
It's out July the 5th. So by the time people are watching this, it will be out.
So today?
Yes, that's right, Charlie. I don't know what day of the week it is.
It's Tuesday the 5th of July.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, which is your next one, Charlie?
Well, the first one I've got on here is Shrines of Gaiety by Kate Atkinson. I will admit that I've had a bit of a hit and miss relationship when it comes to Atkinson's books. I read transcription and enjoyed it for the most part, but I still feel like it was missing a middle section. And Life After Life, I have purchased for the third time, always from the charity shop, to try and get through again, because people keep telling me it's a good book. I have a lot of friends who are fond of Kate Atkinson. Joy from the writers group regularly picks up Life After Life and just reads certain excerpts that speak to her. But this one is that it's set in the 1920s in Soho. And it mentions Nellie Coker, who is ruthless but ambitious and wishes to advance her 6 children. But the success, it says, has bred enemies, and that it's going to discuss the dark underbelly of London, which to me is interesting simply because whenever people talk about the 1920s, they seem to kind of idolize it. And whenever you see it on television, it's always bright and what have you. But apparently she's also writing with a unique Dickensian flair, bringing together a glittering cast of characters. And I can't be bothered reading all of the flaming adjectives in that blurb. This one I'm looking forward to.
I always see, like, I've read Life After Life. I've been one of the ones that probably have been banging on to you about it as well, but which I did really, really enjoy. But I haven't read anything else by her, so I don't know. I think I tried to read the follow-up to Life After Life, where we followed Teddy, which is like the main character.
Yeah, God in Ruins.
Yeah, God in, yeah. But I think it was the audiobook I listened to, and I did not get on with the audiobook at all. So I haven't felt compelled to pick up that or any of the other books she's written, which she's written loads, hasn't she?
Yeah, I think it was emotionally weird that I read at university, and I have absolutely no memory of that book at all, other than it being this really weird, surreal experience that had particularly thrilled me at the time. But whether this is still the case, I don't know. I might go back to it one day. She's still popular. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. I just don't know. I don't know whether I'll see. Maybe I'll see what you, if you read this one, I might see what you think of it, and then if it's worth picking up.
Or if I really hate it, I'll just post it to you anyway.
Cheers, Charlie. If you hate books, though, I might like them. It doesn't always mean anything, does it? So yeah, we'll see. My next one is one that could be on your list. I don't know. It's The House of Fortune by Jessie Burton. Is it on your list?
It is.
There you go. We've got one in common.
On the list.
We've got our first one.
Yeah, one in common already. Yeah. Well.
I don't really know how to describe the premise of this, because obviously this is like the second in the follow-up to The Miniaturist, which is another one I've got.
Yes, it's the sequel to The Miniaturist, and this one seems to have more of a focus on the daughter this time round.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. And
the Miniaturist comes back, doesn't she, in this book? I think
that's what it's saying.
Yeah.
To me, it's the blurb to me seems very reminiscent of when Joanne Harris returned to the Chocolat world with the lollipop shoes. And I say this because in Chocolat, despite the fact that Vianne has her daughters, you don't really get their perspective, whereas in the lollipop shoes, you do get the perspective, and you get this discussion of the mother-daughter relationship. And I do wonder whether that's what Jessie Burton's going to do here. She seems to have started talking more about the relationships between parents and children in her most recent works. Notably, The Confession deals with a child who was abandoned by her mother. So I'm wondering
I love The Confession. I loved that. I thought it was a brilliant book. I love that book.
So I do wonder whether that's just a theme that she's coming back to now.
Do you feel like we are going to have to reread The Miniaturist? Because I haven't read The Miniaturist. That was like before my BookTube days. So I'm talking.
Yeah.
When was it released?
It was released in 2015.
Yeah.
In February 2015, because it was this complete fairy tale in terms of publishing, and that's how it kept getting presented, which was why I followed.
Hyped even then.
It was hyped before it had even been released, simply because of the story of Burton's agent.
Yeah.
Who I knew because she happened to be the agent of a friend of mine, and
we've got so many connections, Charlie.
And so I followed this book, and I never expected there to be a sequel, but I'm not disappointed by the fact that we are getting one, and I think that it could be interesting to see Nala in completely different circumstances to how she was in The Miniaturist, and to see. I really
can't remember loads about it. I remember how much I enjoyed it. I sort of remember the feelings of turning the pages, and like I really, really enjoyed it. That's why I've kept it, but I haven't reread it, so I feel like
it's one that I've kept meaning to go back to.
Yeah.
And I think an interesting, writerly part of me wants to go back and read The Miniaturist before reading The House of Fortune, simply to see the advancement in the writing, because I noticed it in The Confession. I noticed how well she'd advanced, even if I didn't particularly care for the plot. I could see how well her writing had come along. So it interests me to go back and read that, and then read the sequel following it to see the improvements, see what she's talking about, and how she addresses the themes.
Is this one out now already, or is it in August? This one's out.
I think it's the end of this month.
The end of this month, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, do you want to go into one of your books then? Which is the next one on your list?
The next one I had was Venomous Lumpsucker by Ned Beauman.
Oh my god! I don't know what I can't remember what the premise of this is, but it's
This is all based on Kieran of KD Books Review.
Yes, always.
The reason that it's on here because it sounds delightfully weird and absurd, and they're calling it a speculative literary thriller for the Age of Extinction Rebellion. It's supposedly humorous as well, and there has been a cyber attack obliterating every single of these impregnable vaults of a biobank, apparently, and a conservationist and crooked mining exec team up in search of the venomous Lumpsucker, a lost fish that they both desperately need to save. And they are pursuing it through the weird landscapes of the 2030s. And I don't know, it sounds
batty, doesn't it? But it sounds brilliant.
You know that's like, I like weird in fiction. as long as it's done well and it's believable, then I like it. But apparently this is also like humorous and pushing the boundaries of all that. And I'm just looking forward.
It could end up on the Booker. It could end up on the Booker.
It could end up on the Booker, which is even more of a reason to include it on this list because
Why not?
it was previously long listed, I think. But yeah, that's blame Kieran for that one.
Always. Right, my number 3 is, I think it's a middle grade, or it's like a YA. I think it's middle grade, and I'm gonna have to pull my notes a bit closer. It's If You Read This by Kereen Getten, and this is following a character called Bree. So when Bree was younger, her mother used to surprise her with treasure hunts around the island, and then her mum sort of died, and then she's turns so after she died 3 years ago, these became her most treasured memories. Now it's her 12th birthday. Her mama has one last treasure hunt for her. So the first letter guides Bree on to her special place. The next urges her to unlock a secret, and the last letter will change her life forever. So yeah, I read When Life Gives You Mangoes by Kereen Getten. I think it was a couple of years ago, and really enjoyed it. So I was like, yes, this is good. I want to read this. I like a bit of
reason.
I thought it sounded good, so I thought, why not?
The next book that I have is Glory by NoViolet Bulawayo. I am going to mention this every single time that I get asked about it until...
Push it closer to the screen so you can see it, 'cause it's getting a bit washed out, Charlie. That's it.
Oh, sorry. Yes, it's all my lighting's fault. But I'm not happy about this Blackwell sticker. This is going to haunt me. I can't remove it because it'll ruin the cover. But this is almost like a modern take on Animal Farm. Personally, I like to call it an adult version of The Animals of Farthing Wood. If we can make Watership Down more political.
I feel like it was already quite political, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, it was. But here we have a charismatic horse, a bloody war on liberation. Honestly, the more I read of the blurb, like when I first read the blurb, I thought that it sounded really weird, but I really want to get it read. It's just, I'd finished more of the Booktube Prize books than I would be reading this one already.
Oh yeah, I was going to say, because this month's the time before Booker starts.
Yeah, because...
I'm fairly certain this will be on the Booker. I'm really, honestly, this is like that's probably one of the most surest books, I think.
I hope so, because she didn't get it with We Need New Names, and I will mention that book forever. That is one of my favourite books. Other people despise it. Fine, good for you. Have your opinion, you're wrong. But I like this book. The Luminaries did deserve to win in 2013. Also, ignore every other Booker year. 2013 was my favourite year for the Booker within the last 10 years. So if you include NoViolet Bulawayo's latest book, I might like you again, Booker judges. I might like you. That's all.
Given what their takes, they seem like they're getting into dark, weird shit. That sounds really bad. That looks like based upon who the people are. I just think that's the vibes we're going to get this year.
If Ian McEwan...
Oh, no, don't.
Yeah.
You said his name on my channel, Charlie.
If he gets in over NoViolet Bulawayo, that's it. Sod the Booker. I'm not reading it anymore.
Yeah, that's it. Gone.
I'll create my own prize.
Yeah, we said that before. We're going to have a Charlie prize.
The No McEwan Here prize.
Yes, definitely. No McEwan on my channel.
Sorry, go on. Your next book.
Right. The next book that I have picked is Miss Aldridge Regrets by Louise Hare. The previous author of This Lovely City, which I can't get down because it's too difficult to get up. And this is set, I think it's the 1950s, and we follow Lena Aldridge, who was once a famous theatre actress, and her career has gone down the pan basically, and her married lover has left her, and so she gets given this she gets the opportunity to go and work and star in Broadway, which obviously she jumps at. But before she leaves, there's like a murder that happens, I think, at the club. And so she can't wait to leave London. She can't wait to go away. She gets on this boat and basically the murder stuff is following her. So I'm guessing the person is like on board, or I don't know. And yeah, it says because someone is making maneuvers behind the scenes and there's only one thing on their mind: murder.
No, I like the sound of that. I haven't heard of this one before, but it does sound almost typical of like a Alfred Hitchcock style film. Have you read or seen Death on the Nile?
Yes, both.
Only because of the murder within that book, and it's the fact that a murderer has followed.
Yes, I did think that.
To a ship.
Yes.
And also, 1950s and that sort of thing.
Great reference, Charlie. Great reference.
So, that's all I can think of. I can think Death on the Nile, and I think Alfred Hitchcock. It's just, well, you'll have to let me know how you get on with it, because I'm liking.
I definitely am going to get it. It's at the library. This one's out now. It was out in March, I believe, end of March. So yeah, I've looked. My library has it, so I'm going to get it.
Okay. Well, my next book was The House of Fortune by Jessie Burton. So we know how I feel about that one. We know how you feel about that one. So I say we go back to Charlie for her next book, so that we can keep this video moving to the pace and the ideas that we originally had planned.
Yes, quite right. The next book on my list is The Sky Watched, Poems of Ojibwe Lives by Linda LeGarde Grover. And I think it just does what it says on the tin. Poems about Indigenous lives and stuff, I think. Yeah. Yeah, Ojibwe storytelling shaped by the seasons and the stages of life. So yeah, the cover looks amazing.
It intrigues me in terms of reading and in terms of poetry, because as we know, when it comes to poetry, I really like thinking about the way things sound and the way that words work together. And I found that whenever something is being translated from a different culture, or we're reading it, like I say, from another culture, they usually pair different sounds together, and they have a different way of looking at the world than I do myself. So I like the idea of reading this one to get a different perspective on poetry, but also thinking about different ways in which all the poets of different nationalities and cultures will craft work in terms of sound and form and all that. Despite not hearing about it before you just mentioned it. Final book for me for this portion of the video is the Leipfold Files by Dane Cobain. So Dane is the editor of my recent book and my previous book, and I have been following this series since the first book, Driven, was released a few years ago. And this one is similar to the 13 Problems by Agatha Christie, in that it's a collection of short stories following the character of the Leipfold series. So you're getting to, I think it's 24 stories you get here, showing how James Leipfold came to be the person that he is, getting to see cases that you haven't seen before, and also what went on between the first two books in the series.
Oh, that's good.
And what I've liked about Dane's series is that he has written a crime series that uses like classical crime tropes, like stuff you'd usually see in the golden age of crime, and brought it into the modern day with some like very modern, interesting crimes that you wouldn't necessarily think about, but when you think about them, it's almost like recrafting the classic tropes, such as in Driven, someone's killed by a driverless car, but obviously someone must have programmed it. But it gives it a new edge, I think.
And Dane's got his own YouTube channel and booktube channel, and I'll link him in the description below.
Exactly. So
that's nicely done. So
our first 10 books. It's going fine.
Thank you, Charlie. So thank you for watching our 2022 releases that we want to read, etc. Let us know in the comments below if there are any books that you're excited to read this year that you haven't got to yet, or ones that are coming out that you're, just let us know everything in the comments below. Anything else, Charlie, to say on your bit?
No, I'm fine. They'll see me over on my channel. They'll see us talk about another 10 books.
Yes, we've got part 2. So yeah, go and stay tuned for part 2 over on Charlie's channel, and I'll link that in the description there.
I'm hoping we'll release them simultaneously so people can go and do that this time.
Oh, we will do that. Yeah, tomorrow Wednesdays I was doing.
We'll schedule that together in a minute. Until then, ta-ra, Chuck.